I'm back with a new lesson on talking about appearances or simply the way a person looks. Well, we all know that the first impression is the last impression, and when you look at someone for the first time, there is something about the way a person looks that kind of gives you an idea of how to describe him. Well, I'm going to make your work a little bit easier because I'm going to teach you the adjectives or the words that are used to describe people by describing their hair or maybe their skin or maybe their face and body. So let us first learn how to describe or express the way a person's hair looks. So the first adjective to describe a person's hair is curly. Well, we all know how a telephone wire looks like. Well, that's exactly how a person with really beautiful curls has hair like. So if you are one of those people who are lucky to have curly hair, your hair is going to look something like this. And then there are some of you who are so lucky to have straight hair. So straight hair is, as the very word suggests, very straight. And then you've got people who've got beautiful blonde hair. Blonde hair is the color that is almost yellowish golden. And it is very common among people who live in America, in the UK, and mostly in areas of Europe. Very beautiful color indeed. And then you've got people who've got wavy hair. Well, what is wavy hair? Well, wavy hair is not exactly curly, but then it is not again straight either. So it's more of, like a wave. We all know how a wave looks like. So it's not really curly and not really straight and looks very good. So these are the broad categories in which you will express or describe a person's hair and the way it looks. Of course, then you also have people who have gray hair, people who've got white hair, people who've got dyed hair, people who've got the beautiful red hair. So this is how you describe hair. Now let us move on to skin. Well, we all are very vain about, our skin. We want really good skin, don't we? But there are some people who are lucky to have good skin, and there are some of them who don't really have as good skin as they'd expect. So let's look at the adjectives to describe skin. Healthy skin. Well, healthy skin is skin which is glowing, which is very healthy because you eat right, you exercise daily, and that really shows on your face because your face is glowing all the time. And then you've got some people who are quite pale. It could be because that is they don't really eat very well, or because they are not exposed to a lot of sun. So they're very white. They don't really have a lot of color in their cheeks, in their face. So that makes their skin quite pale. And then you've got tan skin. Well, tan skin is skin that comes out of being exposed a lot to the sun. It looks very good, and people kind of also go for a fake tan these days. And then you've got a spotty skin. A spotty skin is skin that has a lot of pimples, also called as acne. Or it could also mean people who've got freckles. So that's what spotty skin is all about. And then you've got really beautiful olive skin, which again is quite healthy skin, but people from countries like Mexico and a lot of South American countries have this kind of skin. So do a lot of Asian people. It looks very good indeed. And then you've got the dark skin people from Africa, people from some parts of India and a lot of other countries in the south. And then you've got the fair-skinned people. That's again your people from America, the UK, and Europe, and Australia. We will now deal with the adjectives describing a person's body. Okay, so if you are one of those people who is really thin, we're going to call you skinny. Okay, so you look at a person and he's all bones, you're going to call him skinny. Then there are some of them who are a little bit overweight because they are heavier, they are more fat than what they need to be. They're called overweight. So you can also call it being fat. And skinny is called thin. What is a stocky person? Well, stocky is nothing but a person who is overweight and yet short at the same time. So someone who is really short and stout is a stocky person. And there are some of them who are broad. They have broad shoulders. They're basically broad boned. So they may not really be fat, but they're kind of broad because they have this big torso, this big physique. So that's what being broad is. Lean. Well, this is one of my favorite body type. A lean person is someone who looks very athletic. So he's got a very athletic frame. And he is thin, but not too thin. So he's not skinny. He's lean, he's healthy, and he's athletic. And there are some people who, spend a lot of time working at the gym to gain a very muscular body. So this person is kind of bulky. And of course, muscular. So he's very fit, very healthy, and he may be a little fat sometimes, but he's mostly muscular. And then you've got the face. Well, we all look at the face for the first time, don't we? So how do we describe a person's face? There are some of them who are very pretty. They've got a pretty face, a very beautiful face. And then there are some of them who are ugly, but I'd recommend you don't say that to their face. And ugly is nothing but being, not very good looking. So that's the difference between pretty and ugly. And then there are some of them who are plain. So when I say plain, I'm talking about someone who is not very good looking, but then someone who is not very bad looking either. I call being plain as a face that is easily forgettable. Someone you wouldn't really remember because of his distinct looks. And then you've got somebody who's pale. Again, we dealt with pale out here. So someone who has a face that looks like it's not been really out in the sun is a person who's got a pale face. And then there are some of them who have a narrow face, a thin face. And then there are some of them who've got beautiful oval faces. And then some of them who've got round faces also. We will now deal with the way how we can change our appearances, because appearance is something that you can't do much about, but you can enhance it to a bit so that your appearance gets changed just a little bit. Well, sometimes when we talk about people, we're kind of polite, and sometimes we are impolite. We don't really want to be rude, but we don't really know the right words to talk about their appearance. So it is very important that you understand the difference between the kind or the choice of words you use when you are describing a person's appearance. So let us see the different ways of talking about a person or the way he looks. If I was a very rude person, I would say that this man is quite unattractive. But a more subtle way, a more nice way or a polite way of saying it is, this man is plain looking. Does that sound better? Well, that's the difference between talking about somebody politely and someone in a very rude way. Weight is a very, sensitive topic for most people. So you've got to be very careful about describing a person's weight. So instead of saying she is skinny, You might want to say she is thin, because when you use the word thin, it sounds more like a compliment as opposed to someone who is skinny, which talks about bad health really. And then you've got people who are short and fat, or let's say stout. But that is not the way of describing a person who appears to be like this. There is not much you can do about it, unfortunately. But you can describe him as being somebody who is stocky, someone who is stocky looking. And then you've got some people, because of their age, they are old. They have white hair or maybe gray hair or dyed hair. But you don't want to call an old man, even though he is one. You might want to say that he is a mature looking man, or maybe an elderly looking woman. Does that sound more, is that a better way to put it? Well, of course it is. So instead of saying that she's an old woman, you might want to say she is an elderly looking woman. Or he is not an old man, but he is a mature looking man. And then you've got some people who are very fat. And as I said, weight is a very sensitive issue. So you don't want to describe somebody as being very fat. You might want to use the word overweight. So this is how you kind of talk about appearances in a nice way so that you don't offend the person you are talking about. Now we will deal with the different ways that one's appearance can be changed. Well, not totally, because as I said, you can't do much about your appearance, but you can do a little bit to enhance that look you've got. Well, here are a few sentences that describe how we can talk about a person's appearance and what he can do to change it a little bit. The first one, the first sentence says, her hair looks different. So we're talking about a person's hair. And we say, I think she has it blonde. Well, I've left a blank here for a reason, because I want to talk about one of the ways she can enhance her appearance by, making her hair blonde. Well, what does she do to make her hair blonde? She either dyes it or she just colors it. Coloring one's hair or dyeing one's hair of whatever color, you can color it blonde, or you can maybe color it red, or some of you want to go punk and you want to color it purple. Dyeing and coloring, as I said, is a coloring procedure. So when you describe a person's hair and you want to talk about how she can enhance the look, you can say that I think she has dyed her hair, or she has colored her hair blonde, or maybe red or purple or whatever color. And then you've got another sentence like, well, this is a direct sentence to someone which is very rude. It says, you look like a grizzly bear, dash that beard. So obviously we're talking about a person who is very hairy, okay? Someone who's got a lot of facial hair. So you may say, shave that beard. So if you don't want to be a hairy person or a hairy faced person, you can enhance your look by shaving. Our next sentence says, Michelle needs to her legs, they are as white as a sheet. Okay, now we're describing her legs and we're going to talk about something that enhances the way her legs look. Well, when I say that her legs are as white as a sheet, I'm talking about a person who has not been exposed to the sun. So Michelle probably needs to enhance the look of her legs by tanning them. So I can say Michelle needs to tan her legs. They are as white as a sheet. And as I explained to you before, when you want to tan your legs, your face, or your body overall, you don't need to always go out in the sun. You can also go for a fake tan, which is very common these days. All right, the next sentence we have is, John wants a mustache to look mature. Well, if you want to look mature, you will always grow a mustache or maybe a bit of a beard. So John wants to look not old, he wants to look mature. So therefore, to enhance that look of his, he might grow a mustache. And then you have a sentence like, it takes her almost an hour to dash her makeup. So when someone takes a lot of time to wear their makeup or put on their makeup, what is the effect of that? They end up having or looking like they have beautiful and healthy, radiant skin. So you might want to talk about a person who's got healthy skin, maybe not naturally, but because of the application of makeup or because he or she puts on or wears makeup. And then you've got someone who looks fantastic. Well, why is that? So I can say, you look fantastic. Have you? Wait. Of course, when you lose weight, you end up looking good because, you are now no longer overweight. So have you lost weight is basically to show you that you can enhance your look by losing a bit of weight if you are, over the ideal weight that you need to have. And then there are some of us who get this kind of a compliment, which is not very good. So it's not really a compliment, but it says, this dress doesn't fit you anymore. You have to, yes, you have put on weight. Now, this is not really an enhancing way of, giving you a good look, but the sentence basically says that the dress is not fitting you because you are overweight. So again, you've got to lose weight to make sure you kind of fit in your clothes and look good. And our last sentence says, you need to dash your hair. It is unmanageable. Well, what is unmanageable hair? Hair that is, very curly, hair that is like, very frizzy, is very difficult to comb and, it takes you more time to get ready for an occasion. So in some cases, if you want to enhance your look and, kind of make it more convenient for you to dress up, you might want to straighten your hair. So you need to straighten your hair. It is unmanageable. Well, these are the ways you can enhance your look after you know how you appear and after you know how to express your appearance. Well, that's it from this lesson from me on talking about appearances or the way you look. I'll be back with some more lessons. Until then, this is me saying goodbye.